Welcome along, fellow time travelers and strange historians. This time around, we're going to travel back in time to check out some of my favorite historic photos of George Harrison at Friar Park. You're going to see some really cool photos from my personal collection, some of which you may have never seen before. Before I begin, can you do me a favor? Please like and share this episode and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Now please join me around the campfire. As you know, I am loaded up to the gills with Friar Park images. And I'm quite aware that many people are interested in the interior of George Harrison's mansion, so that's what we're going to focus on for this particular show. Starting with this one of George Harrison's jukebox. In this snap, and by snap, of course, I mean photo, in this snap, you can see that it is located in the northwest corner of the Jacobean Hall, and behind it is the staircase that leads to the bedrooms upstairs. In fact, that is the staircase where the great Harry Nilsson took this snap. That is also the staircase that the lunatic ran up with a knife when he attacked George Harrison and practically stabbed him to death. And here's a snap of the staircase as it appeared in 1919. You can see the beautiful wood banister and ornate carvings, including one of a friar. There's a desk to the right, and look at those fabulous stained glass windows that allow light to filter in from the west side of the mansion. And outside and beyond those stained glass windows is the rockery and the alpine garden. And here we have a photo of George standing to the side of his treasured jukebox. This image offers us a better view of the detailed carvings in the oak wood panels, which really are quite lovely. I mean, think about it. Once upon a time, there were great craftsmen who were able to create really beautiful design elements. Imagine what a feast for the eyes it must be for all who get the priceless opportunity to walk through the mansion at Friar Park. As you likely know, design psychology is an interest of mine. I've always been interested in learning about how creative people throughout history have lived and worked, in order to try to garner an understanding of how that environment affected their productivity and creativity. And so it's fascinating, to me anyway, and perhaps to you, the simplicity of Tittenhurst Park with the ornate wonder and mystery and magic of Friar Park. And yet they both, John Lennon and George Harrison, were able to live in completely different environments. And yet both ended up being incredibly productive and creative, yeah? And so it sort of throws a little bit of a wrench in the engine of design psychology, except when you consider that the great John Lennon had so many brilliant and creative ideas swirling around in his mind at all times that he really didn't need to be directly influenced by external stimuli. And yet, or perhaps, George Harrison didn't either, don't you know? But yet, he was, even going as far as liberating, to put it gently, engraved phrases around Friar Park and incorporated them into lyrics of at least a few of his songs. That's a topic for a whole other show, but for example, scan out a friend with a microscopic glass. You know his faults, now let his foibles pass. Life is one long enigma, my friend, so read on, the answer's at the end. Those lyrics are loosely based on engravings within a wall at the mansion of Friar Park, as well as others that George Harrison incorporated into his songs. And so you can see how Friar Park inspired creative ideas in George Harrison. In fact, after the show, I would be very interested to know your thoughts about how the beauty and wonder of Friar Park influenced George's songwriting and creativity and productivity, and what you think about how one's environment, including your own, affects people mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and even physically. For example, would you be more creative and productive in a space like Tittenhurst Park or Friar Park? Which do you prefer? A sparse environment or one that constantly floods you with inspiring ideas? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments below. This snap shows George and the great Terry Doran in a kitchen. That is because Friar Park had at least 3 kitchens at this time. There was the original kitchen, located on the northwest side of the mansion, with its own entry for staff in the late 1800s, and early and probably even up to the mid-1900s. There was also the kitchen that George and Patty had in the suite where they stayed during the renovation of their bedroom. That was located on the top floor of the northeast corner, which was located above where George would later build his recording studio. In fact, in later years, Danny did an interview. Yes, I said Danny. That's his name. It's not Donnie or Dahani. Too many people think they need to say his name in some weird exotic way because there's an H in his name. But that's not the case. It's just Danny. Like Sammy or Whammy. Whammy? Or Lammy. Lammy. Or just Danny. It's Danny. That's it. Simple. Danny. Just because there's an H in there doesn't mean you need to make it more complicated than it is. It's just Danny. Anyway, Danny once said that he would be in his bedroom as a teenager or something, and he heard the musicians playing downstairs. And when he said downstairs, that just confused the hell out of Beatles fans, who then wondered where the recording studio was. They thought it was on this side of the mansion, or that side of the mansion, or over here, over there, but no, it was located on the northeast side of the mansion. I'll talk about that another time. This snap was taken in the new kitchen, by the way. And so right now I'm going to read for you an excerpt from Wonderful Tonight, the fantastic book written by the great Patty Boyd. And if you don't already have this book, please go out and buy it. It's incredible. She wrote the following. The original kitchen had been in a big, big room at one end of the house with stone floors, huge sinks, and a butler's pantry. For a long time we cooked and ate there, but we made a new one between the dining room and the library. I spent months finding wonderful old tiles for the walls. I went all over the country to reclamation companies and building renovation sites, looking for them, and Jenny helped. Sometimes we chiseled them off walls ourselves. And here's a photo of the beautiful Patty Boyd in the same kitchen. Now, I have a very serious question for everybody watching and listening to this right now. This is no joke. Okay, seriously, this is not a strange question. This is a serious question, and I expect a serious reply in the comments below. What would be your response if you walked into the kitchen at Friar Park and the beautiful and brilliant Patty Boyd asked you if you'd like some tea? Would you reply, I'd love some tea, or something else? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. So, since Patty mentioned Jenny, here is a snap of Patty in the center and her sister Jenny Boyd, who I think was probably hooked up with Mick Fleetwood at this time. And on the right is my friend Chris O'Dell. These three wonderful ladies are standing in front of the fireplace in the Jacobean Hall. And so the jukebox that we just saw would have been on the far left of whomever took this photo. Hey, you want to know a fun fact? Jenny Boyd was not born with the name Jenny. Here's what Patty Boyd said about this in her book, Wonderful Tonight. She wasn't actually christened Jenny. My mother named her Helen Mary to please a couple of aunts, but I had a favorite teddy at the time called Jenny, and I insisted my new sister be called by the same name. And so that is why Jenny Boyd is called Jenny, because Patty wanted her to have the same name as one of her teddy bears. Interesting, right? Do you have a cool nickname? Do you have any members of your family who have names that they weren't born with? If so, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Also to their left, in the corner of the Jacobean Hall, would have been this piano. And here is a snap showing the Jacobean Hall as it appeared in 1919. This is where Patty and Jenny and Chris O'Dell were when that photo was taken. And that's where the piano was located. And that is where the jukebox was located. This snap was taken in the entry to the mansion. Behind George can be seen the Jacobean Hall. By the way, the Jacobean Center Hall has dimensions of, you ready for this? 36 feet by 35 feet. And the ceilings are 37 feet high. Incredible, right? And here's what Patty had to say about that in this excerpt from her book, Wonderful Tonight. Inside the house, you went into a small vestibule with beautiful floor tiles through 2 oak doors into a huge hall. The fireplace in the hall was 20 feet high with a painted panel on either side of it. One was the Tree of Life, the other the Tree of Destiny. and a beautiful stained glass window reach to the second floor. I hope you're enjoying this video showing photos of the interior of the mansion at Friar Park while George Harrison lived there. Before I continue, can you please do me a favor and like and share the show, and kindly subscribe to my channel, and please hit the notification bell. Also, can you check out the links below to learn how to support my research and productions? Specifically, I'd really appreciate it if you could become a member of this channel and or join me on Patreon. You could also leave a super thanks in the comments below. This snap was also taken in the entry to the mansion. Behind George once again is the Jacobean Hall, and check out the beautiful mosaic flooring and those marble pilasters, and check out that fantastic clock. Wow. Now obviously I have no idea what it's like for you to walk into the entry of your home, but chances are it's probably not like this. Imagine the incredible sense of pride that George Harrison must have felt, knowing he worked his butt off for all those years and was able to accumulate so much wealth that he was able to purchase this incredible mansion and the surrounding estate. Must have been a wonderful feeling for him. Hey, you want to see something really cool? If you are still watching at this point, you're going to be so glad. Check this out. All around Friar Park, Frank Crisp had these custom-made light switches installed. And so if you wanted to turn the lights on or off, all you had to do was flick their noses. Is that not the coolest thing that you have seen all day today? Imagine George Harrison. He needs to turn his lights on or off in the room, and he has to walk over to these cute little friar faces and flick the nose up and down. I want light switches like that. You probably want light switches like that. Can you make them for me? Is there anybody listening who has the skill to make something like this? If so, please shoot me an email. Think I'm joking? I ain't. Please shoot me an email. I want these light switches. These are great. Next to his residential recording studio in the mansion, George kept his guitars. And so here is a snap taken in one of the rooms. This was taken by photographer Brian Aris. He sells a higher quality snap on his website, which you should check out and purchase a copy if you like. I do have others of George in the studio and with his instruments, which I will share at another time. But at this point, I just want to thank you for joining me on this time travel adventure to check out some of my favorite historic photos of George Harrison at Friar Park. And some historic photos too. This has been part 2. If you want to see more like this, please let me know in the comments below. You could even ask me about specific photos that you'd like for me to discuss. Kindly remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because there will be more shows like this one, and I hope you'll check out those too. Please check out the links below to learn how to support my research and productions. Specifically, I'd really appreciate it if you could please become a member of my channel and or join me on Patreon. You could even leave a super thanks in the comments below. Kindly be kind to all non-human animals, and please don't eat them. They don't like that. Remember, for the benefit of compassion for all living things and their own health, all of the Beatles chose a plant-based diet. And please do yourself a favor and go to a local shelter and adopt a cat or a dog. You and they will be very glad that you did. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.